I'm just gonna say it. The Harfoots are straight up the worst. Let me explain. There are a few reasons that the Harfoot storyline is problematic, starting with the fact that they don't really have a place in the Second Age to begin with. Ignoring for a moment all of the absolutely ludicrous character flaws and bizarre social structure that are depicted in the show, Rings of Power writers J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay had to stretch really far in order to make this storyline work, and my main question is, well, why? Essentially, the only reason there are Harfoots in the Second Age is because the writers of the show did not have faith in their own ability to write a compelling story and were relying on member berries to keep the audience invested. They need characters that the audience were familiar with and brought a sense of Middle Earth because they are incapable of recreating that feeling anywhere else in the show. Apparently having elves, dwarves, humans, wizards, and orcs to work with just wasn't enough fantasy characters for the Rings of Power writers. No, they need to have hobbits because...
Remember Sam and Frodo?
You'll come to find out later that the purpose of the Harfoots is solely to remind us of the Lord of the Rings hobbits, as they don't actually serve a place in the plotline of the main story of the show. So, the question is, did they succeed? Well, the short answer to that question is a resounding.
Fuck no.
Aside from their stature and foot size, Harfoots barely resemble Peter Jackson's hobbits, who loved farming, parties, and gift-giving, and are generally seen as a happy-go-lucky group. Conversely, the Harfoots seem to love berries and murder.
Take their wheels and leave them.
You're a psychopath.
Seriously, I have no idea what is motivating the Harfoots other than maybe food. In episode 5, Nori explains to not Gandalf that they essentially travel to where there is food, but that means that this culture of multi-ethnic hobbits with the wheelbarrows and written language hasn't developed agriculture yet. We literally see at the very end of episode 8, they have a garden at the Grove! Why do they need to keep moving? In the lore, the Harfoots are actually the least likely of the three types of hobbits to migrate, and Tolkien makes it pretty clear that they spend most of their time in burrows and tunnels. This guy, who is literally the leader of a migratory species, has the last name Burrows.
Something doesn't add up.
Regardless of the historical and lore inaccuracies, these writers have also managed to turn the most kind and innocent group of people into some of the most cruel and diabolical creatures in Middle-earth.
Dangerous creatures they are.
You're making it up.
Nope, you're right, they absolutely are. It seems that a majority of the problems for the Harfoots comes from their social structure and ethics, or rather their lack thereof. You see, the Harfoots migrate together, and it's a perilous journey. Some members of the group occasionally fall behind, which is to be expected seeing as there are practically no fit young men hobbits for some reason. But anyways, you might think that the rest of the group would rally behind the fallen members, but in the case of the Harfoots,
Think again.
repeatedly through the first season, we are reminded of the Harfoot motto,
Nobody goes off trail.
At first, this seems like an innocent and relatively good idea. Everyone stay on the path and stick together, which is a good plan if you're going to be traveling long distances together. But the issue is that if you happen to find yourself walking alone, you might as well already be dead. See, if you're a Harfoot that's fallen behind or has been injured or stopped to try and save your children, I'm not even fucking kidding, they will literally leave you to die. No stopping and waiting, no group effort to help someone injured or sick, or simply not strong enough to carry on. No, they leave you behind. After they have left you to succumb to the harsh elements or predators or whatever, they will remember you by writing your name and how you died in a book, and in some strange cult ritual, they will read your name out and toast to the Harfoots that they abandoned to death, and they chant,
That was ironic.
This is some of the most infuriating shit in the entire show. What the fuck do you mean, we wait for you? Like, the entire fucking point was that you literally didn't wait for them, and they fell behind. Like, bro, why didn't you stop and help the lady who stayed behind to help her kids? Some Harfoot died of bee stings, and the entire crowd just fucking laughed. And then Papa Smurf called him an idiot. Whoops, sorry.
Majors.
Then, after that community meeting is rudely interrupted by not Gandalf, the group decides that the punishment for Nori bringing an outsider into the group will be to move the Brandyfoots to the back of the caravan, which is essentially a death sentence since Nori's dad is practically useless. Oh, and he broke his leg or something, I don't know. Nori's mom, like the kind, caring, and understanding mother that she is, then makes sure to blame her for killing them and tells her she's not special.
Do you think you're special? You're just a child.
My god, they are the worst. I dislike these characters from the beginning of the show, but I didn't think it could get much worse. However, it seems like the Harfoots don't even know how messed up their own practices are, and that just makes it so much worse. Take Nori's dad as an example. After he inexplicably injures his ankle in a freak tent-raising accident, he and his wife have to worry that they will be left behind since it takes a man to carry the cart.
Hey, that's sexist.
And after the stranger offers to help carry the cart the rest of the way, the group wants to take their wheels off of their cart and leave them to die.
Take their wheels and leave them.
Okay, let me get this straight. The Brandyfoot family, who is already being punished because Nori brought the stranger to the camp, is banished to the back of the caravan to struggle by themselves, but that's not enough. No, they need to literally take away their ability to continue on the trip and leave them to fend for themselves because of the stranger. Right. Why didn't Nori's family immediately tell not Gandalf just to fuck off because he was causing so much trouble? Then we get the most painfully cringe Disney princess bullshit song about wandering. I get legitimately angry when Poppy starts singing every single time. Thank you for ruining my favorite quote, you assholes.
That not all who wander or wander are lost.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Not Gandalf flip-flops between being a dangerous enemy and an ex machina as he saves some of the Harfoots, then almost hurts Nori, which was Nori's fault. And now Nori isn't sure he's good after all in the first place. Then he saves the grove with magic, and also hurts Nori's sister in the process, which was Nori's fault again. So the group finally sends him away, only for him to save everyone except for Papa Smurf from the Ringwraiths, who burned all their carts at the end of episode 7, which again was Nori's fault. After all that happens, Nori's dad, who is clearly brainwashed, gives one of those cute little Rings of Power motivational speeches about how the one thing the Harfoots do better than anyone else in Middle-earth is that they stay true to one another and they have each other's backs. What? They literally almost left you to die, not 2 episodes ago. How the hell did this get past the writer's room? Seriously, like, one of the only subplots in the Harfoot storyline, the entire thing, is that the Brandyfoots are in danger of being left behind by the group. The Harfoots are actually less cruel to not Gandalf than they are to their own kind. And at the end of season 1, we leave off with Nori and not Gandalf going off trail together. Nobody goes off trail and nobody walks alone. My ass. So let's review, shall we? Harfoots are supposed to be sedentary, but for some reason migrate, even though they have knowledge of agriculture, and I didn't even mention this earlier, but their wheels are lined with metal, which means they probably have the ability for metalwork, which doesn't seem very likely at all considering how heavy a forge is. Harfoots say they stick together, but will readily abandon the sick, weak, and injured to die. Harfoots make sure to tell their youth they aren't special. Harfoots will hold grudges against you, even for their own mistakes. Harfoots are so suspicious that they blame not Gandalf for things completely out of his control. And finally, Harfoot songs make me want to commit several felonies out of cringe and anger. I cannot and will not ever forgive the writers of the show for reducing a beautiful token quote into a shitty Disney princess song over a pointless montage of a thoughtless, unnecessary group migration to who the fuck cares?
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
This show could have completely cut out the Harfoot storyline, and not a single thing would change in the plot. There isn't a single moment from the Harfoot plotline that's necessary for the story to continue. It has nothing to do with the Rings of Power, or the hunt for Sauron, or the search for Mithril. Essentially, the only thing the Harfoot storyline has accomplished was introducing not Gandalf as a character, and they didn't even do that well. Seriously, Let's imagine for a moment that the Harfoot storyline was completely cut out from the show. Well, aside from the Harfoots, the only other characters we would miss out on are the lady cult people, who don't matter at all until like episode 7, and not Gandalf, who only learns fucking English like 20 minutes before the end of the season. Could the writers not think of a better way to introduce a single semi-important character without creating somehow the worst, most hateable plotline in the entire show as well? I can forgive the bad stage Irish accents and the absolutely ludicrous costume designs, but you have to give me interesting characters first. I don't care that she's got acorns in her hair, just stop making them worse than Sauron! I've never in my life heard so many people say they're rooting for the bad guy over the rest of the characters than in this show. Once again, Rings of Power has failed to make us care about any of the characters involved. When Papa Smurf died, I laughed. I'm not even kidding. I paused the show to laugh at how fucking silly the entire thing was. Even after 6 episodes he'd showed up in, I didn't feel a thing when he died, except embarrassed and confused at how the fuck a sunrise happened so fast. Like, seriously. I really hope in season 2 the entire rest of the Harfoots are completely cut out from the story. If I have to endure one more Poppy singing song, I may put a hole through my monitor. I hate the Harfoots, all of them, and I hope they never return to the show. Hey everyone, it's Max Soto here. I just wanted to say thanks so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I also appreciate everyone who leaves feedback on here, on all of the last videos I've made. It's really helpful on my end, and it helps me make better videos in the future to hear feedback from you guys. So thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. Happy holidays to everyone who is celebrating, and I will see you all in the new year.